Unit 6, Learning Target 6. For some of you, again, I said this in class, some of you this didn't print off in the green packet, some of you it might have. I don't know why. I'll have to talk to the print shop about that. So if this didn't print off for you, please pause and copy this all down, or like wait till I'm done talking, then copy everything down. You're just going to have to do a lot more writing, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen. So the quadratic formula. So if the quadratic equation is written by the general form ax squared plus bx plus c, where remember a, b, and c are all numbers, so like 2x squared plus 12x plus 3 or whatever, something like that equals 0. That's what we're talking about, a quadratic equation. And it's quadratic, quad 2x squared. The roots are given by this formula. X equals negative b, or the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that over 2a. So again, we're going to get two answers because I'm going to add it and I'm going to subtract it. When I was in high school, they taught us how to memorize this by singing it to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and I'll do that for you now. Just remember, I'm not a great singer. So it would be x equals opposite b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So if that helps you memorize it, awesome. We only want to use this formula. We only want to use this if, remember, the box thing doesn't work. If I can't get anything to work to, x squared, whatever, 3, if I'm doing this problem, if I can't get anything in here then to give me that, if nothing's going to work, then I have to use this equation. Otherwise, I want to stick to this one. This one's easier to do, I think. If you want to do this one every time, go for it. Up to you. All right. So let's actually try this. So here's an equation. Here's a quadratic formula. I'm going to now solve this for 0. So I'm just going to do negative 4x squared plus x, and I'm going to add over 2 equals 0. I'm not going to try and show the box one. I'm not going to make this video that long. I'm just going to go straight into the quadratic. So again, I'm going to write that over here. X equals opposite b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. All right, so there's my equation. So in this case, and let me get a highlighter, my a is going to be this. My b is going to be 1. And my c, no, and I guess I should do this for a. My c is going to be blue. So that's how I separate this. So I'm going to go and I don't want to write it over there. This is going to take a lot of room. This is going to be x equals the opposite of b. My b is, remember, a 1, so I want negative 1 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 1 squared minus 4 times negative 4, that's my a, and my c is 2, all divided by 2 times negative 4. So now I'm going to simplify this a little more, so I'm going to have negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared is 1 minus, so ready, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 4 is, what is that, 32? Am I right on this? Oh, negative 32. There we go. All over 2 times the negative 4 is a negative 8. So then I'm going to have negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus a negative. It becomes plus, so it's square root of 33 all over negative 8. So then I have this, negative 1 plus square root of 33 over negative 8, and negative 1 minus the square root of 33 over negative 8. So I'm going to get out a calculator down here. Does this one allow me to do square roots? Let's find out. No, I have to get a different calculator. This calculator on the computer doesn't allow me to, so if I do it on one of these, it has a square root button. So if I type in 33 square root, I'm going to round that to 5.7. So ready? I'm going to just say that this is 5.7. So then I'm going to have negative 1 plus 5.7 divided by negative 8. So this would be 4.7, that's a 4 again. 4.7 divided by negative 8. So 4.7 divided by 8. So this would be negative 0.59. Or I have negative 1 minus 5.7 all over negative 8. So this would be negative 6.7 all over negative 8. So this is going to give me 8 or 0.84 about, and it's going to be a positive because 2 negatives. So here are my 2 answers. Those are my 2 answers. All right, I'm going to separate this by a red line. That was all for problem 1. Problem 2, this is already set up, so I'm going to then just plug into here. So I'm going to have x equals negative b, so opposite of b, so b is 2, so negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times, my a is 1, my c is 7, all over 2 times 1. So I'm going to simplify. Negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4, right? 2 squared is 4, minus 7 times 1 times 4, which is just 7 times 4, which is 28, right? No, yes. All over 2. So again, you could have done this as a negative 4 times, like you could have done whatever, either way, like same up here. If I would have thought of this as a plus, a negative, I still get, then I would have gotten positive 16, or yeah, 16 times 2 then is 32, so this would have already right away been a positive 32, and I wouldn't have to think of minus and negative, whichever way you like. So down here, I now have x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 24 all over 2. I'm going to stop here because of this. Mainly, actually, because of that. When I have a negative inside a square root, I can't do it. So for this, there is no solutions. I cannot do this. You cannot have a negative inside a square root. So your before class problem, 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. You're going to solve this using that quadratic formula. So, you know, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You're going to use this, and then once you get your answers, what does that answer mean? What does that even telling me?